In the midst of a tense police standoff right now. Police believe they have their suspect or a possible suspect cornered. We have some pictures of the scene right now. Police believe, in fact, that suspect may be suffering from a gunshot wound that he sustained at the time of the attack on police officers yesterday. An attack on officers as they sat in a coffee shop just down the road behind me here.
Early this morning, a Seattle neighborhood in lockdown. Police used tear gas and explosions, targeting a house where their person of interest, Maurice Clemens, is believed to be holed up. Officers could be heard at times firing shots and encouraging Clemens to surrender. Hours earlier, in a shroud of flashing blue and red, the bodies of the 4 officers were escorted out from the crime scene under a huge American flag to salutes and heavy hearts.
Saluting them as the procession went by. You know, I couldn't help a few tears rolling down my eyes. It was just, you know, it's just sad.
The 4 officers were gunned down inside this coffee shop as they prepared to begin their shift. Police say the suspect stood at the counter as if to order, then opened his coat, pulled a gun, and began firing.
The barista saw him open up his coat and pull out the weapon, and she fled out the back door. Then he turned around and opened fire on the police officers as they were writing reports.
Police are calling it an ambush, an execution. In a last-ditch effort, wounded and in shock, one of the officers struggled with the suspect.
One of them managed to fight his way with the suspect, fight all the way out the doorway until he was shot and died of a gunshot wound.
They are faces every cop in town knew well. Sergeant Mark Renninger, a 13-year veteran with a wife and 3 children. In a statement, his brother called him a loving and dedicated father. Officer Ronald Owens, who leaves behind a daughter. Officer Tina Griswold, married, a mother of 2, and stickler for safety procedures. And Officer Greg Richards, a husband and father of 3.
It is just unimaginable, and our hearts are just breaking.
Maurice Clemens has a long rap sheet, including assault on a police officer and a pending child rape charge. Here he is in 2008, talking about a fire at his rental property.
Property and stuff like that, it can always be replaced. So, it was a blessing that, didn't nobody, get hurt.
He was released from custody just 6 days ago, even though he was wanted on a fugitive warrant out of Arkansas, a state where then-Governor Mike Huckabee granted him clemency 9 years ago.
There may be some people have to answer to that.
Former Governor Huckabee, for his part, in a statement overnight, said that Clemens' release or his being out is, quote, the result of a series of failures in the criminal justice system, both in Arkansas and in Washington state. As for the standoff, that is ongoing right now, a fluid situation. Police have not heard from Clemens if he is inside that home. Diane? All right, Neil, back to you as we learn more. And joining us now from the crime scene in Parkland, Washington, is Ed Troyer, the Pierce County Sheriff's Department spokesman, and he's leading the investigation along with the team there. And thank you so much, Officer Troyer. I want to ask the direct question. How did you come to suspect Maurice Clemens as a person of interest?
Well, as a trail through our investigation, through linking vehicles and people together, which brought us to a residence. And as we talked to acquaintances, it became pretty clear that he was our person of interest. And then once we found out he was suffering from a gunshot wound last night, it was immediately changed to being our #1 suspect. In fact, he's the only person we're looking for that's responsible for this.
We had heard that he'd been spotted near the coffee shop and that you had found a cut-off electronic tracking bracelet, that he had cut off his ankle?
Well, during one of the operations where we were checking residents yesterday, we did find a tracking device that was cut off his ankle. That was put there by the bond company and not the prosecutor's office or a condition of his release. That's obviously that they were afraid of losing their bond when he bailed out of jail.
Was there any more insight from anyone about why these 4 officers in particular? We know that they were in uniform, they were in marked police cars. Do we think he just trailed them, or that he was targeting them in particular?
We don't believe he was targeting them in particular. We believe that he was just out to kill some police officers, execution style. We are now learning, after the incident occurred, we're getting reports that he made some comments the night before to watch the news because he was going to go kill a bunch of cops. Those people did not report that until after the incident occurred. So we believe that he was just after police officers, and unfortunately they were the 4 that were in that coffee shop when he went by and saw that they were there.
There are reports this morning that his sister has been saying that he was not of his right mind. Others had said that he was talking about flying, that he was the confirmed Messiah. Are these reports that came to you?
Well, when we're getting the information through the charging sheets and looking at the police reports and looking at his history in Arkansas, he does definitely have some issues. And part of our investigation will be is why he was out of jail. We know here in Washington we didn't do anything wrong because we've arrested him multiple times. We got him charged, and he was being held on $150,000 bail and bailed out. And what happened was is once we told Arkansas that we had him in custody, they quashed their warrant. So they had a chance to get him back on whatever reason they let him go in the first place. And that's something we're going to take a strong look at to determine why he was even here to begin with.
Yes, looking at this, 5 felony counts in Arkansas, 8 in Washington State, serving in Arkansas 11 years of a potential 60-year sentence. How angry does this make you and your fellow officers?
Well, you know, the criminal justice system works when it works, and when it doesn't work, there's usually a breakdown someplace. When we do the math that this guy was supposed to have 65 years in Arkansas and he's only 30-something years old, the simple math is somehow or another, some reason, he was out in our state when he definitely should be back there and didn't even come close to serving a sentence.
Well, Officer Troyer, again, we want to thank you. We want to honor all of the officers on your team. I know so many of them came in on their own time to do everything that they could from the entire region.
Right.
And, of course, the families
That's
and those
absolutely right. Yep.
nine children of the 4 who died.
Yes.
Thank you again.